This is the time of year most people think about buying a camper van. Do not buy one before you watch this.
We've come to Harrogate. We brought you to Asda. What a fantastic place to bring you. We've come to Harrogate, so let's have a look around here first.
So as we're exploring Harrogate and all the normal banter and chaos that ensues when we're exploring a place, we're also going to tell you everything you need to know before you buy a camper van as we're going around it. First thing to know about Harrogate is it's really cold and windy, isn't it?
It's really, really cold. In a kind of order, but not really a very good order. Here's the things that you need to know before you buy a camper van. First of all, and most obvious, is what van you're going to choose. I'm not going to go into it all now. We've done a whole vlog on what sort of van to choose. We've done a whole vlog on how not to make the mistakes that we made. So we'll put a link up for you to actually be able to go and watch that. But in a nutshell, think about the size of van that you want, the engine size, the age, the mileage, all that sort of stuff. And watch the other video to find out the details.
So the next thing you need to know about van life is where you're going to park. So you've got your camper van, where you're going to park it. Are you going to use campsites? Are you going to do wild camping? We always tend to wild camp. We never ever use campsites. So like tonight, we're going to have to look for a park up. So we're in Harrogate now. Where's the park up going to be? Where are we going to sleep? These are all things that are going to be based off the size of your van that you've just chosen. So it all kind of links together, because if you get like a Mercedes Sprinter or something like that, is that going to be too big to then park in a little town like we're in now, like Harrogate? So you're kind of thinking about where am I going to park when you do find a park up. If we've said before on other vlogs, you know, if you're wild camping, it's being considerate of other people, not parking in front of people's houses, you know, not parking where you're going to be causing a nuisance. And these are all things now that we're in the town of Harrogate that we're thinking about now for the park up tonight.
So if you do want to come to Harrogate and explore it, it's a real contrast. You've got like your really expensive top-end shops, you've got your typical kind of high street shops, and then you've got loads of quirky, like, charity shops. It's filled with quirky charity shops, retro shops, all that sort of stuff. So it's absolutely ideal place for us, but it's a really, really nice place to come and explore. Do you remember last time we came here, Reese, and what we ended up doing?
Well, what did we end up doing?
Do you not remember? We were doing our 9-to-5 jobs and we needed some more motivation because we just wanted to quit and we'd had enough. Years and years ago.
Yeah, so years ago, we worked in normal jobs. We weren't always travelling about in a camper van, unfortunately. And we were just like at that point, and a lot of you are probably at the same point in your lives where you're just like, we just couldn't, the motivation for the career ladder had completely collapsed. Like we weren't even bothered whether there were a ladder or not at this point. And so, but we had to keep going. We were in a position before our 10-year plan started to become free, essentially. We just didn't have any motivation, so we started watching Suits. Have you ever seen Suits with the lawyers and solicitors?
Yeah, she's married Prince Harry now, hasn't she? That were in that.
Yeah, Meghan Markle.
Meghan Markle. She used to be in Suits, now she's married to Prince Harry. Yeah, so we're watching that, and it's one of them things like you can, if you have to get yourself sucked into that kind of corporate feeling to be able to get up and have the motivation to even go to work, then if you watch films like that, we found that it like got us right into it. So that were it then. I was like, right, I need to get really dressed up when I go to work. I need to have like, you know, the woman in it that had all the really nice dresses. Well, they all had really nice dresses, didn't they? They all wore the top like fashion dresses and the highest heels you've ever seen in your life to go to work in, like you'd be on your feet all day in them heels. No way. And we came into Harrogate and we spent an absolute bomb going around charity shops buying like the best suits, the best dresses. So we came out and we literally looked like we just stepped off the scene of Suits.
Yeah, I tell you what, it works though, psychologically. Walked in, I had this like really crisp black suit on, walked into my next meeting like feeling really powerful.
It lasted about a week.
Yeah, about a week. And it wasn't long after that, it all collapsed. So what does that tell you? It all collapsed and we threw everything towards van life and freedom and stuff. But yeah, we came to Harrogate. Because the thing about Harrogate is, and it won't be bad saying this, it's quite an affluent area. So what happens is people buy like these really expensive suits and stuff, and then they wear them a couple of times for a meeting that they've got or whatever, and then they put them in the second-hand shops and the charity shops, where we then collected them. And still do, just a different style.
Thanks, you okay?
Thank you. No, I'm all right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Freezing here.
Yeah.
Soon be spring. I keep counting the days down. Somebody said it's the 1st or 2nd of February officially, spring.
Oh, no.
So it's not long to go now.
England never spring.
It's about June.
Exactly.
If you're lucky.
Thank you very
June
much.
and July. What's wrong with you, honey?
Oh,
You got yourself out with there, Daisy.
she's naughty.
She's opened it up again, look on her own. I don't know how she's doing that, you know. She's managing to
I
open
know,
it up on her
she
own.
undoes the clasp thing on it.
So clever. But yeah, we got all them clothes together, didn't we? And we just kind of, it were like, no, we just can't do it anymore. And I remember just taking the whole lot down to charity shop and just getting rid of them all. But my wardrobe had just been filled with all these top-notch designer clothes. And that's when I had normal hair as well.
I know,
innit?
I did as well. Normal hair. We'd get like rocked up on a night though, like, you know, we'd go out to rock bars and rock clubs and stuff, wouldn't we, to try and balance out the real us, how we were actually feeling back then. But no, Harrogate's great for like your second-hand shops and charity shops. It's probably the best place.
I'm finding though
York.
today, like going round now though, that it's the odd thing that's our style now, isn't it? Somebody where they bought something a bit quirky.
Yeah.
Because it does have that very much kind of corporate feel to our clothes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like the top end, high fashion, you know. So I've not found out today, which is a bit gutting so far.
So we've had so many questions lately about starting van life that's why we guess that people must be starting to look for them, because we've had emails, we've had messages on other social media saying, oh, can you talk a little bit about kind of what we need to know before we buy a van. So as we're travelling round and we've ended up here in Harrogate, which we actually really like Harrogate, we thought why not kind of answer some of those questions, because that's obviously what people are kind of thinking is, oh, we want to buy a camper van, and if we can help you out, we will do, if you want to take our advice. Something to think about as well that's just come to my mind. It hadn't actually. Emma said, oh, we need to say this next. It's just be realistic, and it hadn't come to my mind at all. Sat there right clever then, wasn't I, saying, oh yeah. But no, she said I have to tell you that what about if you're poorly? Like if you're poorly, and it's actually a good point, joking aside, if you've got a camper van and you're poorly,
Or ill or sick, because people might not know what poorly means.
Oh no, yeah. So
depending on where you're watching from.
Yeah, depending where you're watching from. If you're ill, if you're sick, if you're poorly, or poorly, depending if you're from the UK, that could be another abbreviation of it as well. You get the idea, right? Then where are you going to go if you are? Because it's really uncomfortable in a van. I know some people have to do it, and you know, but you know, think about that. Think about you are going to get coughs, colds, sicknesses, bugs that go around, you know, especially over winter. And if you're daft enough like us not to have a diesel heater, then you're in the cold and you're poorly. We're lucky enough, if you've watched us before, watched our previous vlogs, we do have a cottage that we let out, so sometimes that's available. But think about bringing that into your budget of, can I bring it into my budget where I could stay in an Airbnb, I could stay in a bed and breakfast, you know, can I stay with a friend? Is there some friends that you know, are family members where if I do get ill, I can go there for a few days and just recover? You know, they're quite simple things, but things that you probably wouldn't have thought of, and it's always useful to think about these things before you kind of, oh no, I'm ill, what do I do now? You know?
Or if your van breaks down.
You know, have little backup plans in case things go wrong, basically. How were that?
That were all right. You nearly forgot the van breaking down.
Yeah, the van breaking down. Right. Always be careful in case your van breaks, because Romany never breaks down.
Well, no,
touch wood.
Touch wood. It can happen, and you can. That's your house, isn't it?
Yeah, that's your house gone.
You're snookered, aren't you?
Yeah.
People don't think about that.
No. Really, really cold still. It's about -2 today. We can't feel his fingers again. Which brings us on to the next point, which is what?
Diesel heaters? No, not diesel heaters.
Because we want one of them.
Insulation, we want one of them. Insulation is key. Really think about that if you're going to go into van life. Think about how you're going to keep warm, basically. So think about whether you're going to get a diesel heater and how you're going to heat your van. But the insulation is the key thing, because that helps you with the heat and the cold. So it keeps the cold out and the heat out. And it's really, really important. It's something that people really overlook. So when you're looking into it and you're looking at going and getting a van or whatever, if it's already done out, you need to be able to see pictures of exactly how they've insulated it. And you need to think about how you're going to do it if you're doing it yourself. There you go.
Well done. It was good, that, wasn't
That were a
it?
bit bossy, that, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, you sort of told them,
It were a
didn't you?
bit
It
bossy,
wasn't,
wasn't it?
like a discussion,
Because
that,
it's
were
a
it?
really
Like,
important thing.
getting
that's
told
why.
off.
I'm trying, and if I look right miserable today, I'm not miserable. It's just that I've got a really, really sore tooth, and I'm terrified at dentist. So I've been putting it off for ages, and I think they're going to have to remove it as well, and I'm panicking about it. So I've been putting it off for like months and months and months, and I can't smile because if I smile, the cold hits my tooth, and it's so painful.
Keep calling her miserable.
So I'm smiling with one side of my mouth
She
up
looks-
like Elvis.
She looks miserable.
I keep going like this all the time, so if I look a bit odd, that's why.
Well, you look like you don't like harrogate very much.
Don't make me
Look
laugh.
like- you look like
because
it's
it
upsetting
really
you.
hurts when you make me laugh. And I've got toothache because you made me laugh at that cafe, and now it's killing me. So 4 second-hand shops later.
I found something. Look at this little gem. It's a hooded top. Look at that.
Cool that though, I like it.
It's a little bargain, that.
Really good,
Keep me
that.
warm, that. all stuff to keep you warm. That's the thing in van life. Anything that keeps you warm, grab it. Put
So
that
we're on
on.
to the next thing now. What's the next thing?
The what next? What?
What's the next point?
The next point is like getting on with somebody. Like if you're married, there's 2 of you living in a small space in a van.
How much do you like them?
How much do you like them
Don't know how much
after
I
you've
like
lived in
you
a
most
small?
of the time.
Cheeky.
I'll
just
have a
rude.
think about that one after I've been in this
Yeah, I'll
shop.
prepare my answer as well. Oh, it's nice and warm in here. Oh, look, see if we can find any more little gems.
Thank you. Right, so moving swiftly on and avoiding the answer to that question. Anyway, brings me swiftly on to the next thing, which is space. So when you get in a van, think about space, think about your layout, where you're going to put stuff, how much stuff you've already got, get rid of stuff. You really, really do have to get rid of stuff. We may go around and buy the odd things from charity shops, but we always get rid of things, kind of take them back to the charity shop. You can't have too much stuff. You've got to be a bit of a minimalist in a van, and you've got to think about where you're going to store stuff. Even us, after 4 vans of doing them out from scratch, we've still got it wrong, and we still do stuff wrong with storage. It's still difficult to reach things and get into things. You've got to think about how awkward it is to move cushions, lift up stuff, all that sort of stuff. So when you're going and looking at a van, or when you're thinking about doing one out or whatever, when you're thinking about going into it all, you've got to think about the layout, and you've got to think about, can you get rid of some of your prized things, especially if you're going to be living in a van.
Did you see how she just brushed that question off then? She didn't even answer it. Emma, me and about 500 viewers are all concerned how you just brushed that question
No.
away straight on the carpet, that, wasn't it? Did you see that?
Depends how much you've annoyed in that day.
Wow.
No, it is a serious thing that if you're going to like go off and be in a van with somebody, we've talked about that before. haven't we?
Yeah,
Like,
it can be a serious thing.
Yeah,
you know.
that's why you've got to think about your positioning. You've got to have your own space, like in the van. You've got to have your own areas that you can go into, and that's why we would look at getting something a bit bigger, won't we? if we were
Yeah,
to
that's
kind
the
look at
idea of
another one.
possibly eventually a Luton or something, because you can have your own sections. It's normal, innit, to kind of want your space, you know, read a book,
Don't worry, we're out of earshot of Romany.
whatever.
Can't hear us.
Yeah, she can't hear us, bless her little heart. But it is something to consider. There have been stories of things going wrong on the road, and
Yeah, bad stuff on
really
there.
bad stuff that you'll have seen probably on the news and stuff, where they're in a hot country, it's the first time in a van, they're out in the absolute wilderness away from anywhere, and things get flustered, you know, things
And
get
they
heated.
get these
and
so they get a small van because they only think, this is why we're trying to tell you about all the things to think about, because a lot of people go, oh, well, I want to be able to drive this van down all these country roads, and I want to be able to park up in all these awkward places, and I want to be able to park up when I go to the supermarket, which is great. But then if you're in like a space where it's literally a bed, it's, you know, that turns into a sofa, it's not great for living in. That's all right for going away on a weekend, but not so great for living in. So we're trying to kind of tell you everything that you really need to consider before you're going into it.
so being able to have your own space, your own hobbies, even if that's one of you likes to run or whatever, you know, have your own thing. If you're doing this and you're new to it and you're in a couple or something like that, have your own thing, have your own space. And I think that's, like, me and Emma are pretty good at that. I think, you know, we've said it loads of times, very, very rarely do we argue. When we do, it's always my fault. Like it's because I've done something wrong every single time. And of course, Emma's always correct. A granddad gave me that advice. He says, always make sure she's right. And
Secret to a happy marriage.
Yeah, it is a secret to marriage. So yeah, but no, on a serious note, make sure you've got your own space, your own hobbies, your own things that you like to do independently. It's really important that.
Linked to space is making sure that everything's multi-purpose. Everything you get should have more than one use to it. It's a challenge, but it should.
Yeah, I think there's a vintage shop kind of down here. This is Betty's Tea Room, the famous Betty's Tea Room. The queue for miles outside here.
I'm not really sure what the hype is, but then I've never been, so shouldn't comment.
Yeah, do you want to go for a wee, Daisy? Yeah, get a little tail
Oh, look
wagging.
at that tree, that's beautiful.
Which one?
Ah,
Oh, this one here. Oh, it is nice, isn't it?
I love it bark on them. You can feel like the energy coming off them, can't you?
Look at that, Emma. Go sit in there.
Oh, you can be in a
Go
photo
sit in there
frame
and give
of
them your
Harrogate.
next fact about thinking about starting van life. It's
That's
like
a
you're
good
in a photo
idea, yeah,
frame,
look at that. It looks a bit dilapidated from last time we came, doesn't it? That we're all nicely painted last time.
Good,
There you
isn't
go.
it,
Is that a good shot?
Yeah. Hang on. It looks great, doesn't
I've
it?
forgotten what it was. Oh yeah,
It looks like you're
now.
painting. It looks like you're talking painting.
I've remembered what it was now. So the thing is, you look on other social media sites and stuff, and you think, oh, van life's amazing. It's fun every day. It's epic every day. It's, you know, you get all these brilliant shots of them sort of sat looking out at the back of the van. It's beautiful sunset, you know, sand outside. Not every park up's going to be like that. Not every day is going to be sunny, especially if you live in UK. Moving into a van does not change that. It just emphasises how cold it is at times. So it's not always fun. Sometimes it's muddy, sometimes it's raining, sometimes you're stuck inside your van. You know, me and Reese are lucky, we've got each other. You know, we can have a laugh together, we can play like, you know, board games together, whatever. You know, there's stuff you've got somebody else to bounce off of and have a bit of a giggle with and make things fun even if it feels miserable. When you're on your own, it can be really difficult. And a lot of people go into van life thinking there's this big community that they're going and joining. And there is, like online and stuff. But when it comes to actually parking up, people don't come and knock on your van door. People don't come and even kind of socialise with you most of the time. Sometimes they do. But a lot of the time, people are not that sociable when you're out in your van. So it can be quite lonely. And you get a lot of people who start van life, you know, and then they're kind of coming on social media and saying how lonely they are and how do they meet people. And so that's something you've got to consider if you're going into it on your own. How are you with your own company when you might be stuck in a van for days and days on end if it's snowing or raining or whatever? You might be off parking out in the wilderness somewhere and not seeing anybody for long periods. So how are you with that? How are you going to cope with that? That's something to really consider. Come on, Daisy.
Right, where's your lead, little girl?
Daisy, where's your lead?
Oh,
Are you excited?
Come on
You're
then.
going for a walk?
no, you be gentle with that little doggy. He hasn't hurt you, has he? Come on. Oh, grumpy. Everyone's waiting for me to do the voice. It's becoming a thing. Come on then, Daisy. Good girl.
So considering we've got a dog, what would you advise people if they've got a pet? We've seen people with cats and all
Don't get one. Don't get one. They're a nightmare.
Don't be mean.
Come on, Daisy. She sniffed this same bit of grass now for about 10 minutes. She loves it. Come on, you. Come on. Where's Mummy? Where is she?
Come
on
on.
then. Do you want to go on YouTube?
Come on.
Come on then. Ooh.
Right, big step for her.
No, pets are great. I'd recommend getting a parrot
How'd you get a parrot in a van?
because then you've got somebody to talk to. So you're always thinking, pets are great in vans. They really are because they offer you companionship. That's a good word, isn't it? Companionship. And it's just nice, isn't it? It's security as well if you've got a dog. Like, who's going to mess with Romany with Daisy? Nobody's breaking into Romany, are they, with Daisy? But no, you see it on like there's van life groups online and stuff, and you see it like where they'll have like big dogs and stuff, and people tend to feel a lot safer when they've kind of got a big dog with them. We did once meet a guy who had a cat with him who was travelling Europe with a cat.
Oh yeah, trained it, didn't
Yeah.
it, from it being a kitten.
And the cat ended up having loads of kittens, and I think, as far as I know, he took them all with him. Like,
He had like steps up the side of his van and a portal
And a little
window
bell.
for it to get in and out of. Yeah, and when he rung the bell, the cat had come home.
And
How
you-
clever is that?
you see that on like canal boats as well, don't you? Where people tend to have a cat, or dogs are obviously a thing. Think about the size of your dog in correspondence with the size of your van as well. One of the reasons we have Daisy is because obviously she's so little. If you've got a German Shepherd in the back of Romany, it's going to
Yeah.
be really tight fit.
And muddy, when it's muddy outside as well. That's another thing in it with animals.
It's just all things to think about, because if you are new to van life, especially if you're new and you're setting out on your own, the first thing might be, I'm gonna get a dog, I'm gonna get a companion, and you might go out and buy a Rottweiler and then think, oh no, what have I got here, right? So
And shopping, like if you go
yeah,
shopping,
how are you gonna shop?
You can't leave. You know, I know some van lifers do leave the dogs in the vans and they've got CCTV set up and everything.
What?
Oh, she thinks it's a postman. Not a postman.
Daisy!
It's not a postman. He's a council official. She's like, I don't care, I'm back at him anyway. Yeah, so it's kind of, you know, people do leave the dogs in the vans. You see that obviously on a lot of vlogs, and people have got CCTV set up. I don't like doing that, you know. If it's like just, I've done it a couple of times for like a minute if I've had to nip in somewhere to use bathroom, and Reese hasn't been there to watch her or whatever. But it's been once or twice. I don't like leaving it. I always just think, what if somebody nicks your van? What if somebody breaks into your van? Look what happened to us, you know, in Spain, and smashed the window. If Daisy had been in there, then anything could have happened to her. So, and also I think about the heat. Although you can have your fans running and stuff, if you are abroad, it can get really hot, or if you can get really cold. So you've got to think about all that sort of stuff, haven't you? You've got to think about what you're going to do with them if you've got to go shopping and stuff like that.
So we're still looking for this vintage shop. I think it possibly used to be that.
It's been a while though, like I said, since we've been here, so it could have shut down.
Yeah, I bet it's shut down, which
there's
is
a
a shame,
strong
because
chance
it's
of
really
it.
cool looking like vintage shop. I didn't even press the button, stood here like a lemon.
Oh, Reese, rookie error.
What's it doing? Off we go.
Daisy, you mustn't try and do that. It's really
I think,
naughty.
I don't know where it is, Emma. I thought it were there on the corner. But it's
This
not.
way.
What?
No, go back up there. I've been up there. She
Oh,
just
right,
tried
okay.
to bite that man as he walked.
Huh?
The guy walked across the road and she just tried to bite his coat.
Daisy. That's really naughty.
Mortified.
Oh, don't wag your tail, it's not funny.
So the advice continues as we head back towards the van. It's dropped a bit darker all of a sudden because all of a sudden we've been stopped by about 4 different people asking us about camera equipment and stuff, so we got a bit sidetracked. Anyway, the next thing to think about is kind of the practicalities of everyday life. So stuff like when you need water, you need to empty your rubbish, you need to empty your toilet, you need to wash your clothes, you need to get a shower. Even stuff like maybe needing to straighten your hair if you're the sort of person that likes to use hair dryers and hair straighteners and that sort of thing. Van life might not be for you, because even though you do see a lot of people gaming in van life and stuff like that, they're usually abroad and have really good solar power. It doesn't really matter what solar power you have in UK, it's not really that much cop. So you're kind of better off realising that these things are probably just going to be a bit of a struggle, to be honest with you. So you need to think about that, those practicalities of those everyday things and how difficult they are to actually do. Sometimes you can literally be going round for hours trying to find somewhere to empty your bins. It's not always that easy. So bear that in mind before you do the leap into van life.
We're heading back to Romany now because it's getting dark, which means it's time to find a park up, which, as I was saying earlier, you've got to kind of consider when you're in a town like Harrogate. We may need to travel out a little bit. There might be something around here where we can enjoy Harrogate a little bit longer, I don't know. So we're going to try and find a park up now as quickly as possible, really, because we don't like finding them in the dark. So see how we get on. So one of the tasks of van life is washing your van, making sure it's clean. We've been a bit lazy with making sure Roman is clean, so she needs a wash. She's gonna have a bath. We found our park up for tonight. It's not ideal, it's on a kind of a side road, but it's right next to town, next to kind of some green spaces, not really disturbing anyone. There's a couple of camper vans parked down there, so it looks all right, kind of outside a church. So it looks like it'll be quiet-ish. It's next to a main road, but it looks like that could quieten down over kind of overnight, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think this is all right. We'll jump in back now, make a brew, and settle down for the night. It's not too bad a park up this at all. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to watch some more van life content, click on these links and we'll see you next Tuesday at 8 p.m.